Hey, this is C&D channel. I'm Chris, and this is MMA for you. I'm going to be doing my predictions for Bellator 59, which is going to happen on November 26th on MTV2. Okay, this will have the heavyweight tournament final and the bantamweight tournament final as well. So let's get right to it. For the heavyweight tournament final, we have Prindle versus Thiago Santos. Prindle, he had that really great knockout over Ron Sparks, and before that he had a really fun fight against Abe Wagner. Excuse me. He has some pretty good boxing skills, actually. He's kind of up there in age. I think he's in his late 30s. But he's a big heavyweight and he can knock some people out, man. But Thiago Santos doing really well himself. Won his last fight against Neil the Goliath Grove by rear naked choke, and his fight before that against Josh Haynes by rear naked choke. Funny story about that is I remember Grove was saying he wasn't impressed by Santos because he didn't even have his hooks in getting that rear naked choke, and then Grove goes and gets dropped by an overhand right, only get rear naked choked by Santos. I'm going to go with Santos to win this one. I think that from what I've seen so far from Prindle looks like he has the better hands. Both of them are big heavyweights. Both have massive power. And they've both shown that as well. But I'll go with Santos to win this one. I really think that his chances get a lot better if he takes the fight to the ground. As he is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, huge for his size as well. The other thing is, the winner of this fight is going to fight Cole Conrad. I think from a stylistic standpoint, Prindle is not good stylistically against Conrad. Conrad's probably going to smother him, take him down and just like smother him. Maybe even get a submission win from the on the ground, possibly. With Santos, though, Conrad could actually do the same thing to him, to be perfectly honest. At least with the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, maybe he'll be able to scramble back to his feet. Maybe he'll know some sweeps or something. At least stylistically, I think Santos. I'd favor Santos a little more than Prindle and whoever fights Conrad. So yeah, I got Thiago Santos winning that one. Okay, next fight after that we have Eduardo Dantas versus Alexis Vila. Always be a fan of Alexis Vila for knocking out Joe Warren the way he did. He knocked him out bad. Just really bad. There's a lot of steam, that went away from him. As when he fought Galvao, he definitely didn't look that great. He looked like he fades in the later rounds. One thing is, it looks like he puts a lot of power into his strikes, and he really puts like his whole body into his strikes, which could either be like he can either knock his opponent out, or else he can gas himself out. And Galvao, he managed to weather the early storm. A lot of people thought that Marcos Galvao should have got the win there. Actually, I actually edged it out for Vila myself, but I'm not gonna say it's like a robbery or anything like that. And if Galvao won, I wouldn't be complaining either. I think with and also with Vila too, like he showed some of his wrestling against Galvao, but it wasn't impressive. I can't even recall if he got a takedown or not. I don't remember. What I remember is that his wrestling wasn't very successful. With Dantas, he had that flying knee and subsequent ground and pound on Wilson Hayes, and then after that he had a really fun fight against Ed West. Really high pace too, which is actually why I'm gonna go with Dantas to win this one. one thing I also liked about Dantas when he fought West, he just find a home for that right hand. I mean, his accuracy and timing are pretty good, really good. He's still really young too. He's in his early 20s. He showed some pretty solid wrestling and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu against West as well. You know. So yeah, I gotta go with Dantas to win this one. I think he'll be able to weather that early storm from Vila. And yeah, it'd be interesting. You know, whoever wins this one though, I'm not gonna complain. I think both of these guys are very interesting matchups against Zach Makovsky. So, you know, if Vila wins, I'm not gonna be like, oh man, I picked Dantas, but you know, that sucks. You know, I'm a big fan of Vila myself, but you know, just seeing, you know, you gotta. It really is a sport of like, what have you done for me lately? Because it's kind of like how you look in your last fight. To me, and I know to a lot of other people, is gonna determine, you know, predictions for your next fight. So it's like, you know, I think that Dantas is going to have the gas tank, be able to weather that early storm, and be able to beat Vila. But, yeah. So, next fight after that, we have Patricky Pitbull Freire versus Kurt Batman Pellegrino. He's making his UFC Bellator debut. I always liked Batman. You know, he had a solid run in the UFC. He lost 2 in a row. His last loss was against Gleason Tibau by a split decision. He's always been a solid fighter. You know, mainly wrestling and grappling. And that's why I think this could be a pretty troubling fight for Patricky here. Who I do have winning. I have Patricky Pitbull Freire winning this one. But Pellegrino, you know, he's a veteran. A lot of experience against top guys. Strong wrestling, very strong Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills. You know, if he can get the fight to the ground and grind us out, he can win the fight. However, Patricky Pitbull, you know, I mean, his last loss is to Michael Chandler, who's now the Bellator lightweight champion, beating Eddie Alvarez. With Freire, I think he'll definitely have the superior stand-up in this fight, with the use of knees, kicks, punches. Now, you know, he has good takedown defense as well. So that's the thing. It's not like, you know, he's gonna get taken down at will by Pellegrino. And he is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, so you know, he'll know what to do down there. I'm hoping he'll have that sense of urgency to get back to his feet. If he's even taken down, that's the thing. But I think with Pitbull's superior stand-up, he has a solid takedown defense and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu acumen. I think he'll be able to get the win here. Okay, next fight after that, Marcin Held is going to fight Phillipe Nover. One thing about Held is that he's 19 years old. Definitely a prospect from Poland. You know, sky's the limit for him. You know, you have 13 fights and you're only 19. You know, you're just gonna get better and better. Solid record too. You know, 11-2 record, 3 wins by KO or TKO, and then 6 wins by submission. So he already looks like a pretty solid fighter. He lost to Michael Chandler, but it's like, who hasn't in Bellator, you know? And another loss as well. But I gotta go with Phillipe Nover here. You know, painting Phillipe, you know, Filipino brother. You know what I mean? That's the thing. Record's not so great, you know, 5 wins, 3 losses, 1 draw, or no contest. I'm not too sure what that one is. But you know, all 3 losses are in the UFC. Won by, I believe it was Bradley, Efrain Escudero, and Rob Emerson. He's still pretty young. He's 27. He's not as young as Marcin Held or anything like that. But you know, I always thought he had solid skills. It's with his Muay Thai, and he had some strong Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as well. So yeah, I'll go with Nover to win this one. kind of a biased pick because I'm a fan of the guy, you know. Also, he's Filipino like myself, so gotta cheer for the Filipino guy here. Unless it's like Brandon Vera, and then I'm like, I don't know. You kind of lost me as a fan there. But okay, let's go into the the prelim card, which is gonna be on Spike.com. Carl DeSica Amasu is gonna fight Jesus Martinez. Martinez, you know, pretty solid fighter. He's coming off a win over another guy that's gonna fight on the prelims over Chris Wing. But you know, the thing with the Psycho here, I mean, he has a judo and a savate base. In the Sam Alvey fight, he got to show off a good amount of his kicks. He got to show off some judo too. He even mounted Alvey in the early goings in the fight. It's kind of disappointing in his performance though. Overall, I thought he kind of lost the fight for himself, really. Obviously, his defense also isn't the greatest in stand-up. He does get hit, you know, he does get hit clean fairly often. But otherwise, I think with his judo and his striking background, he should be able to win this one. Most of his wins are by submission. I hope he gets a fight to the ground, you know, and gets to show off some of his skills there. And next fight after that, we have Levon Maynard versus Chris Wing. Tough fight for me to call. Chris Wing, still relatively young, only 23. You know, he only has 4 fights, a 3-1 record. No wins by sub, just 2 of his wins by KO or TKO. With Levon Maynard, I mean, the guy's had like 19 fights as opposed to Chris Wing's 4. You know, he doesn't necessarily the best record coming in right now because he's lost 4 of his last 6 bouts. He's coming off a loss right now as well. You know, I remember Levon Maynard probably from his fight with Rick Hahn. He was actually doing pretty well in the stand-up. It was when he got judo tossed and then subsequently ground and pounded, you know, that he lost the fight against Rick Hahn. This one's kind of tough for me to call. I'll go with Levon Maynard just because he has more experience, really. Next fight after that, Lucas Pimenta is going to fight Doug Gordon. You know, I don't really want to go with the guy. I'm not going to go with the guy with the 11 wins and 10 losses. You know, Doug Gordon. You know, he's lost 6 of his last 9 fights. He's coming off a loss here. Lucas Pimenta is a perfect 4-0. His last 2 wins are by TKO. I'll go with Lucas Pimenta to win this one. Okay, next fight after that, we have Scott Heckman versus Brylan Van Aertstalen. These are pretty similar. With Van Aertstalen, all 5 of his wins are by submission. He's never been past the 2nd round. You know, he's coming off a loss to Joel Roberts, where Scott Heckman's coming off a loss to Becerra. You know, tough one for me to call. They're both like 27 years old, kind of identical in a sense, because Heckman also has 5 submission victories under his belt as well. I'll go with Heckman to win this one. I believe he has a wrestling background and some pretty good submission skills as well. Okay. And finally, we have Gregory Millard versus Brandon Sailing. With Millard, you know, he has a 1 win and 2 losses, and he's coming off a 2-fight losing streak. Whereas Sailing, he's coming off a 3-fight winning streak. Trains out of Team George Gurgel. Still relatively young, 25 years old. So I'll go with Brandon Sailing to win this one. Okay, and that's it for my Bellator 59 predictions. If you have any comments, just leave them below. And that's it for MMA for you. Thank you very much.